So, good morning. So we're going to continue on one more page of chapter 7, then we're moving on to chapter 8, Dr. Spencer. We pulled into the filling station and I parked the car right up against the workshop door. I helped my father to get out, then I held him around the waist as he hopped the short distance into the workshop. In the workshop, he leaned against the tool bench for support and told me what to do next. First, I spread some sheets of newspaper out over the oily floor. Then I ran to the caravan and fetched 2 blankets and a pillow. I laid 1 blanket on the floor over the newspaper. I helped my father over to lie down on the blanket. Then I pulled the pillow up and put it under his head, covered him with the second blanket. Put the phone down here so I can reach it, he said. I did as he asked. Can I go get you anything, Dad? What about a drink? What about a hot drink? No thank you, said. I mustn't have a thing. I'm going to have an anesthetic soon and you mustn't eat or drink any time at all before that. But you have something. Go and make yourself some breakfast, then go to bed. I'd like to wait here until the doctor comes, I said. You must be dead tired, Danny. I'm all right, I said. I found an old wooden chair and pulled it up near him and sat down. He closed his eyes and seemed to be dozing off. My own eyes kept closing too. I couldn't keep them open. I'm sorry about the mess I made of all, I heard him say. I must have gone to sleep after that, as the next thing I heard was Doc Spencer's voice saying to my father, Well, my goodness me, William, what on earth have you been up to? I opened my eyes and saw the doctor bending down over my father, who was not still lying on the floor of the workshop. Now it's chapter 8, Doc Spencer. My father told me once that Doc Spencer had been looking after a couple of people of our district for nearly 45 years. He was over 70 now and could have retired long ago, but he didn't want to retire. His patients didn't want him to either. He was a tiny man with tiny hands and feet and a tiny round face. The face was as brown and wrinkled as a shriveled apple. He was some sort of elf, I used to think to myself each time I saw him, a very ancient sort of elf, with wispy white hair and steel-rimmed spectacles. A quick, clever little elf, with a swift eye and a flashing smile and a fast way of talking. Nobody feared him. Many people loved him, and he was especially gentle with children. Which angle, he said. The left one, my father said. Doc Spencer knelt on the floor and took from his bag a pair of large scissors. Then, to my astonishment, he proceeded to slit the cloth of my father's left trouser leg, right up to the knee. He parted the cloth and looked at the ankle, but he didn't touch it. I looked at it too. The foot seemed to be bent and round sideways. There was a huge swelling below the ankle bone. That's a nasty one, Doc Spencer said. We'd better get you into hospital right away. May I use your phone? He called the hospital and asked for an ambulance. Then he spoke to someone else about taking x-rays and doing an operation. How's the pain? Doc Spencer asked. Would you like to give me something? No, my father said. I'll wait till I get there. As you wish, William, but how on earth did you get to do it? Did you fall down the steps on the crazy caravan? Not exactly, my father said. No. The doctor waited for him to go on. So did I. As a matter of fact, he said slowly, I was mooching around up in Hazel's Wood. He paused again and looked at the doctor, who was still kneeling beside him. The doctor said, Yes, I see. And what's it like up there these days? Plenty of pheasants? Stacks of them, my father said. It's a great game, Doc Spencer said, sighing a little. I only wish I was young enough to have to get another go at it. He looked up and saw me staring at him. You didn't know I used to do a bit of poaching myself, did you, Danny? No, I said, absolutely flabbergasted. Maybe many a night, Doc Spencer went on. After evening surgery was over, I used to slip out of the back door and go striding over the fields to one of my secret places. Sometimes it was pheasants, other times it was trout. Plenty of big brown trout in the stream in those days. He was still kneeling on the floor beside my father. Try not to move, he said. I didn't lie quite still. My father closed his eyes, his tired eyes, then opened them again. Which method do you use for pheasants, he asked. Gin and raisins, Doc Spencer said. I used to soak the raisins in gin for a week and scatter them in the woods. It doesn't work, my father said. I know it doesn't, the doctor said, but it was enormous fun. One single pheasant, my father said, has got to eat at least 16 gin-soaked raisins before he gets tiddly enough for me to catch him. My own dad proved that was with roosters. I believe you, the doctor said. That's why I never caught any. But I was hot stuff with trout. Do you know how I used to catch a trout, Danny, without using a rod and line? No, I said. How? You tickle him. Tickle him? Yes, the doctor said. Trout, you see, like to lie close to the river bank. So you go creeping along the bank until you see a big one, and you come up behind him, and you lie down on your tummy, and you slowly, very slowly, you lower your hand into the water behind him, and you slide it underneath him, and you begin to stroke his belly up and down until the tip of one finger. Will he really let you do that? I said. He loves it. And there's a page. He loves it so much he sort of dozes off. As soon as he dozes off, you quickly grab hold of him and flip him out of the water onto the bank. That works, my father said, but only a great artist can do it. I take my hat off to you, sir. Thank you, William, Doc Spencer said gravely. He got up off his knees and crossed over to the door of the workshop and looked out to see if the ambulance was coming. By the way, he said over his shoulder, what happened there up in the woods? Did you step in a rabbit hole? It was a slightly bigger hole than that, my father said. What do you mean? My father began to describe how he'd fallen into an enormous pit. Doc Spencer spun round and stared at me and my father. I don't believe it, he cried. It's perfectly true, asked Danny. It was deep, I said, horribly deep. But great heavens alive, the little doctor shouted, jumping up and down with fury. He can't do that. Victor Hazel can't go digging tiger traps in his woods for human beings. I've never heard such a disgusting, monstrous thing in all my life. It's rotten, my father said. It's worse than that, William. It's diabolical. Do you know what this means? It means that decent folk like you and me can't even go out and have a little bit of fun at night without risking a broken leg or arm. We might even break our necks. My father nodded. I never did like that Victor Hazel, Doc Spencer said. I saw him do a filthy thing once. What? My father asked. He had an appointment with me at my surgery. He needed an injection of some sort. I've forgotten what. Anyway, just by chance I was looking out of the window as he drove to the door in his whacking great Rolls Royce. I saw him get out. I also saw my old dog Bertie dozing on the doorstep. And do you know what that loathsome Victor Hazel did? Instead of stepping over old Bertie, he actually kicked him out of the way with his riding boot. He didn't, my father said. Oh yes, he did. What did you do? I left him sitting in the waiting room while I picked out the oldest, bluntest needle I could find. Then I rubbed the point of it with a nail file to make it blunter still. By the time I'd got it through with it, it was blunter than a ballpoint pen. Then I called him in and told him to lower his pants and bend over. And then I rammed that needle into his fleshy backside. He screamed like a stuck pig. Hooray, said my father. He's never been back since, Doc Spencer said, for which I am truly thankful. Ah, here's the ambulance. The ambulance drew up near the workshop door and two men in uniform got out. Bring me a leg splint, the doctor said. One of the men fetched a sort of thin wooden plank from the ambulance. Doc Spencer knelt back down over me beside my father and eased the plank very gently underneath my father's left leg. Then he strapped the leg firmly to the plank. The ambulance men brought in a stretcher and placed it on the ground. My father got onto it by himself. I was still sitting on my chair. Doc Spencer came over to me and put a hand on my shoulder. I think you'd better come on home with me, young man, he said. You can stay with us until your father's back from hospital. Won't he be home today? I asked. Yes, my father said. I'll be coming back this evening. I'd rather you stay in for the night, Doc Spencer said. I shall come home this evening, my father said. Thank you for offering to take Danny, but it won't be necessary. He'll be all right here until I get back. I reckon he'll sleep most of the day anyway, won't you, my love? I think so, I said. Just close up the filling station and go to bed, right? Yes, but come back soon, won't you, Dad? They carried him into the ambulance on the stretcher and closed the doors. I stood outside the workshop with Doc Spencer and watched the big white thing drive out of the filling station. Do you need any help? Doc Spencer said. I'm fine, thank you. Go to bed then and get a good sleep. Yes, I will. Call me if you need anything. Yes. The marvellous little doctor got into his car and drove down the road in the same direction as the ambulance. And that is the end of chapter 9. We'll read that next one on Thursday.